We're taking a serious look at how the national opioid epidemic has roots right here in South Mississippi. President Donald Trump has declared opioid abuse a national public health emergency. Its effects are far-reaching and no one is immune. Tonight, I'll show you some of the faces who have been indirectly and directly affected by the drugs originally meant to help people, not harm them.
What is this one?
Angela Mallett is a doting mother of a beautiful 2-year-old little girl named Stella. But before she was born, Mallett's life was drastically different.
I was addicted and I had to have them.
Mallett was addicted to oxycodone. She was prescribed the pills after miscarrying at 6 months during her first pregnancy.
I was prescribed a 30-day supply of oxycodone 3 times a day. And so that was 90 pills.
30 days. That's all it took for Mallett to crave the drugs. The days of her addiction were dark and led her down a path of destruction.
And the addiction just got worse. I started injecting painkillers and, I woke up one day and was shooting up in a trailer with no power on.
Like many addicts, Mallett had her moment of awakening before it was too late.
I literally woke up in jail the next day after I'd gotten arrested and just said, thank God I don't have to fight this anymore.
Now in recovery, Mallett has been named the outreach coordinator for Mississippi's Targeted Opioid Project. She works closely with Governor Phil Bryant to raise awareness about opioid abuse.
People are dying every day. People are dying all over Mississippi, but in particularly on the coast.
While Mallett is combating the crisis through awareness, Harrison County Sheriff's Department Lieutenant Matt Haley has a boots-on-the-ground approach.
Mostly what we're seeing is hydrocodone, oxycodone, oxycontin, and fentanyl seems to be on the rise.
These are drugs Haley says at one point were rare. And the interesting thing about this epidemic, it doesn't pick favorites.
We could do a search warrant for these type of drugs in a middle-class neighborhood one day, and 3 days later do a search warrant in a upper-class neighborhood.
In 2015, opioids killed more than 23,000 people in the U.S. But what about in Mississippi? The Attorney General's office reports last year, Mississippi was a leading prescriber of opioid painkillers with the equivalent of approximately 70 opioid pills for every man, woman, and child. Speaking of children, they're often caught in the crosshairs of addiction.
A lot of these drug houses that we go to, there seems to always be some type of kids involved. So we get DHS involved every chance that we get.
CASA of Hancock County Executive Director Cynthia Chauvin sees every day the impact it has on South Mississippi youth.
Over 75% of the children come into the system as a result of neglect due to dependency due to drugs.
Seeing children separated from their families because of this addiction is frustrating and heartbreaking. But that's why it has to be addressed. That's why Mallett couldn't be quiet about a very personal journey to beat her addiction. She just hopes people listen and join in the fight to end the cycle.
I don't personally know anyone who this disease hasn't touched, myself included.
Now this week you will hear from doctors, law enforcement officers, and recovering addicts. Everyone's story is different, but they're all affected by the opioid epidemic. Join us each night this week as we continue our special report on opioid abuse in South Mississippi.